Hello friends, my name is Paresh and what you see on your screen is Business Central. Now today we are going to talk about entering and editing information in Business Central. Now in general, you can only edit information from card pages, not from the list pages. However, there are some exceptions like chart of accounts. For example, if we open the chart of accounts over here, you will see that we have the list page, but I also have an option to edit the list. So in chart of accounts, I can edit in the list page itself. However, in general, you cannot edit in the list page, but in the card pages. So if you want to edit an information, you need to go to the card page and edit the information, just like for customer cards, for vendor cards, for item cards, or whatever cards that you have. Now, whenever you open a card page, you can switch to view mode by clicking and disabling the edit button. You can click on the edit button to change it to the view mode, or you can click it again to make it into an edit mode where you can actually edit the data. Now you can insert new records both from list page and from card page. How you can do that? You can click on the plus button over here on the card page to create a new entry. You can also delete the record by clicking on the delete button. However, in this case, since there are transactions against this record, so you may not be able to delete that and the system might throw an error. Similarly, if I go to the list page, you will see that there's an option to create a new entry from here as well. And if you want to delete a record, you can select the record and click on the assist edit and click on delete. Now let's take customers for example and go to one of the customer cards. Over here, I edit the information for Editum Corporation. When you enter information into fields, Business Central provides certain formats. For example, the date fields only accepts date parameters, and the number fields only accepts numbers. Similarly, the text fields, they can accept information in any format. Then you have code fields, which have predefined codes. And then there are calculated fields that display amounts and quantities calculated by Business Central. Now, Business Central provides flexibility when you enter dates. Now, to demonstrate that, I have opened a sales order form and we'll try to do some changes in the posting dates, for example. So if I click on W, for example, it will take the working date. Now, if you have seen my previous videos, you will know that the working date is configured under my settings over here. And if you just type in T, it will take today's date, that is the system date. Now, apart from that, an interesting fact is that you can also enter abbreviations for weekdays, and Business Central will then enter the date for that weekday based on your work day. So for example, if I type TU for Tuesday, it will take the Tuesday's date. Or for example, if I type SA for Saturday, it will take the Saturday's date. So that is the weekday based on the work date that is specified in your system. Isn't that interesting? Now, when you enter a date, you need to take special note of certain things. For example, start day of a week is always a Monday. The work date year is added automatically if you enter a day or a month. So for example, if I say 2nd of March, you will see that the year is automatically added over here. And you should also note that the Business Central supports default Windows date range, that is your system date ranges. Now in Business Central, the quantities and amounts are entered in a special number fields that have built-in mathematical function so that you can enter calculations. For example, I say over here in quantity field something like 13.50 multiplied by 2 minus 12. I can enter this kind of expression and the system will figure out the correct number. So you'll note that the calculated amount rather than the formula is stored in the field. However, you can enter any expression that involves 4 basic mathematical operations such as plus, minus, multiply, and divide. Now, apart from entering numbers, you can also specify codes. Now, a code identifies a record such as an item, a vendor, a customer, a resource, or GL account. Essentially, codes are the values that are used for sorting information on the screen and in the reports as well, and also to identify the record. For example, item record, GL account, resource. And instead of selecting the code over here, what you can do is you can just type in the first few letters. For example, I just type LIN for Linda and tab it out, and the system will automatically fill the code for me. So instead of selecting a code, you can also type in the field, and the system will automatically identify, since it's a unique number, and fill out the information for you. Now, calculated fields display amounts and quantities which are calculated by Business Central. For example, over here you can see the balance amount for a GL account. Now, by clicking on this value, it's actually called a flow field. The General Ledger Entries page opens, and it shows all the entries included for the calculation of that balance. Now, the contents of the flow fields are calculated every time that they are displayed. So, which means that a flow field is always 100% updated and displays the newest figures. So guys, this was all about entering and editing information in Business Central. I hope you enjoyed this video. Why don't you go ahead and try it for yourself? And please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye-bye.